very interesting thing we're going to talk about medically now, because this is a pilot scheme in Manchester. And doctors, what they've been doing there is when you come along and you say, I'm a bit down the dumps and whatever, they say, well, look, rather than give you prescription pills, we're going to prescribe pot plants and herbs that grow in tubs, and herbs that are known for what are called mind-boosting benefits.
Yeah, so they're saying, you know, maybe looking after something and nurturing it. Well, I'm saying all this, Dr Zoe's here, so she can explain all this. I kind of, you know, people go, what do you mean a pot plant? But the idea is, in this pilot scheme, that they might take something home and then they plant it in the surgery garden, everybody's kind of involved. So is it a distraction tactic, or...?
Well, it kind of, when you put it all together, you can see why it might help somebody's mental health, because giving them the pot to take home, the pot plant to take home is just the first step, and it's giving them purpose, giving them something to nurture. You know, often people who are suffering with mental health problems are very isolated and lonely, and a plant's not going to talk back to them, but it's better than nothing. But then, because they start to look after this plant, they then want to bring it back to the surgery and put it into the garden and surgery, and that way they then start to interact with other people. And then in addition to that, if they start to get involved with the garden, they start to build in some physical activity, they develop something, they learn a new skill, and all these things combined together can help really lift somebody.
This has been called social prescription, so it's not just about plants. So you might say, if they want to
go to the
singing,
theatre,
join a choir, or to try and maybe get something where you're involved with other people.
Yeah, so we're seeing a real surge in this social prescription at the moment, and this is one of many examples of it. And really what it is, it's recognising that when people have a long-term condition, whether that is mental health or whether it's high blood pressure, often it's a symptom of their life circumstances and other things. And so sometimes a 10-minute consultation with the doctor and a prescription isn't really going to make a big difference.
But they'll still maybe want that prescription, they may want that immediate pill.
Yes.
But I think it's interesting what you're saying. But look, the pill shouldn't be the answer. This is long-term. We can actually go on this journey together. Are you a believer in this?
100%. So it's lifestyle medicine, which is something that I'm a huge advocate of. And just prescribing a medication, although there is a place for that, and that's really helpful and really useful, often on its own, it isn't going to solve the underlying problem. And it's not always about mental health as well. I mean, an example of a social prescription for somebody with asthma might be joining a choir, a singing group, because that helps them to regulate their breathing and increase their lung capacity. So it's actually a medical treatment.
And even the types of plants that we're saying in this pilot scheme, you know, lavender, lemon balm, mint, are kind of the smells and aromas, which we know from aromatherapy. So you're saying even this, not just nurturing and growing the plant, but the smell of it, handling it, is a mood booster.
Yeah, that's right. So we know that interactions with nature are good for our mental health, and there's something about involving all of your senses. So with a plant, you look at it, you can touch it, you can smell it. It doesn't talk to you, you can't hear it, and you can taste it. And these plants they all have a smell and they have a taste.
And then you've got oils there in front of you.
We've got some aromatherapy oils, and a lot of these holistic therapies, you know, there isn't robust evidence for them, there isn't robust data, but as long as they're used sensibly, then they're not harmful either. So there's something that can be used, you know, you can give them a try. In terms of the evidence around anxiety and depression, there are 3 really well-respected treatments, one of which is antidepressants, which there certainly is a use for. The other one is physical activity and exercise, which can be as useful as antidepressants. And the other is talking therapies, which people can access actually without seeing their GP if they go onto the website and put in IAPT.
It is absolutely incredible. I'm not a great lover of physical exercise, and I don't often look forward to it, but I've never once come away from it and not felt better. So I go in feeling, whatever, and don't want to do this, I'm not good enough for this, whatever, and you come away and you feel you can take on the world.
Exactly, and it helps you on so many different levels. So biologically, it actually releases feel-good chemicals and hormones and endorphins. It also gives you that sense of achievement that you've gone and done something, and it's actually good for the inflammation in your body as well, so it helps reduce inflammation. So on every level, exercise helps. But obviously, when you're depressed, sometimes it's the last thing you want to do.
It's finding the motivation when you're feeling so low.
Exactly. And generally, even if it's just walking to the end of the garden path and back, just doing something can be a good trigger to
get you started,
just to get you started.
And something else you talk about is to keep learning new skills that you would
Yes.
encourage people to do.
Yeah, so the NHS has this 5 ways to well-being, and one of those is learning a new skill. I think we might be able to go through them, actually.
I think we've kind of done the first 2, haven't we?
So
Connect
connection
with
is all about
people
people and social
and being
interaction.
active.
I think these are very good when you look at these. Keep active.
Staying active, physical activity. Third one is keep learning. So learning a new skill actually teaches the part of the brain that actually also makes us feel good to rev up. So learning a new skill is good for our mental health.
And it's also a sense of achievement, I presume. Is
There's
it
a sense of
whatever it
achievement.
is you've learnt to do?
Exactly. Giving to others, so whether that's just saying hello to somebody, smiling at somebody, or helping out at a soup kitchen. So giving to other people. And then the final one is be mindful. And that's all about being in the moment. And that brings in the plants again.
Or be mindful of yourself, like to look after yourself, do you mean?
Be mindful, meditation, but just bringing yourself back to the present moment. So often we're ruminating about things that have happened in the past or worrying about things in the future. So spending 10 minutes, and smells, that's why smells are really good, and listening to music, it really brings you to the present time.
Do you know what I love smelling? Marzipan.
Oh.
Do you?
Yeah.
Makes whatever floats your boat.
Maybe tasting it too?
Tasting it, bit of Battenberg cake.
Maybe that's where you're going wrong.
Maybe that's where I'm going wrong. But
That's
it is
when you
funny
need
when
to
you
do
think
the
of
physical exercise.
smells. It's like freshly cut grass.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. There's some smells.
Yeah, and if you walk on it as well, then you feel it. So I think the overarching thing is there is a place for medication, but there are lots of things you can do for yourself
Zoe,
as well.
Thank you.
absolutely
Social
a lot to
prescription.
think about.
Interesting.
Thank you.